Starmer was the fifth foreign leader to visit China in January alone. The leaders of South Korea, Ireland, Canada, and Finland have all been to Beijing already, and Uruguay's president will visit next week, the first by a South American leader since the U.S. forcibly seized Venezuela's President Maduro. To assess what all of this means, let's bring in Professor Anthony Moretti of Robert Morris University. So let's start there. Flurry of diplomatic activity, diplomatic visits. What do we read into all of this?
I think what you're reading is 2 pages, but from the same chapter. And what I mean by that is, number one, there is a recognition that there is so much that we don't know about what short-term and long-term U.S. policy is going to be. You know, if you use the example of the roller coaster that goes up, it goes down, it spins, kids or adults who are on it scream and everybody's happy. But that's make-believe. You don't want policy based on roller coaster ideas and people screaming with uncertainty. And on the other hand, you look at China with the unveiling of its next 5-year plan coming up, the excitement associated with that. And I think what you're seeing is multiple governments around the world saying, look, if the U.S. cannot be counted on to be the kind of partner it was in the past, it is definitely time to look to a place where serious and sober and positive conversations, can be held. Just listen to the words that Prime Minister Starmer there used a minute or two ago. This idea of positive cooperation, of opening doors, whether it's economics, whether it's people-to-people exchanges, whatever it takes to solidify relationships. I think you're seeing a lot of countries now saying, if the U.S. can't supply that and doesn't want to be a partner, we'll go elsewhere.
Yeah, to your point about the roller coaster and to Keir Starmer, here's part of the statement from Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney. He said, in a more divided and uncertain world, Canada is building a stronger, more independent, and more resilient economy. To that end, Canada's new government is working with urgency and determination to diversify our trade partnerships and catalyze massive new levels of investment. As the world's second largest economy, China presents enormous opportunities for Canada in this mission. Now, that's a pretty strong statement from the leader of a country that borders the United States.
And that's the point. It borders the United States. With all due respect to the UK or Ireland or South Korea or Finland or Uruguay or any other country whose leader um, visits China, there is something to be said about this, the long-term relationship between the U.S. and Canada. Has it always been perfect? No, but no perfect relationship as we know exists. But if Canada is saying, you know what, our partner to the south, our neighbor to the south, and not only to the south, to our immediate south, if it's showing signs of reneging on the world order that it created and that it so desperately wanted to uphold for decade upon decade, if it doesn't want that world order anymore, then any government, but especially one that was as closely allied with the US as Canada was, has to absolutely look elsewhere. Because let's face it, you need to trade, you need job opportunities for your citizens, you need to ensure stability. All of those things are possible now with China, at least in terms of ensuring that these positive conversations and momentum continue.
Yeah, to your point in Davos, Carney said, the world order isn't coming back. He said the world's in the midst of a rupture, not a transition. So if he's right, how is China navigating things, and what kind of a role do you think it has in shaping a new world order, so to speak?
Well, I think what you're looking at is a sober, serious, optimistic, dare I say, adult approach to opportunities and to trade. The acknowledgement is there that, look, these trade conversations are never going to be easy or perfect. But if they're held in a spirit of, we understand what you need to understand what we need. And if there is that always necessary ability to compromise, to find where there are areas of significant overlap, where there are significant areas, especially in high quality development opportunities, what you begin to see is a framework that says we can get a lot done. And we don't have to do it with the same sort of, looking over your shoulder to make sure that the president of the United States is not going to say something or tweet something or threaten something, where instead you're going to be dealing with a president and a government that is very committed consistently over the last 12, 15 years, very committed to this idea of advancing China advancing another country, bilateral relationships that are strengthened. They benefit corporations at the high end, and they benefit every private citizen who may not even necessarily be front and center aware of how these agreements come together and how they benefit them.
And so I suspect we'll see more of these leaders going to Beijing in the near future. Anthony, always great to see you. Thanks so much for your insights. Really appreciate it.
Mike, you be well. Good talking to you.